What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Hope that everybody's enjoying their Wednesday evening. Y'all, it's a crazy day in the sports world, okay? First, we got Shannon Sharp getting fired from ESPN. Now, we got Gilbert Arenas arrested alongside of five other people in a suspected Israeli transnational illegal gambling ring. Allegedly. But I will let you guys know I have never seen a United States Attorney's Office centric District of California press release in regards to, you know, a sports player getting into trouble, but it is what it is. So, first, I'm going to read you guys the excerpt that I put on the right here. It says Los Angeles. Former NBA star Gilbert Arenas and five other defendants, including a suspected high-level member of an Israeli transnational organized crime group, were arrested today on a federal indictment alleging they operated an illegal gambling business in which high-stakes poker games were played at an Encino mansion Arenas owned. First of all, I'm going to get through the snippet, but I know you not. What in the okay? And the snowfall is going on in your house, Gilbert. Not in your okay. Arenas 43, aka Agent Zero. Oh Lord, not him being Agent Zero, child. Of Woodland Hills is charged with one count of conspiracy to operate an illegal gambling business, one count of operating an illegal gambling business, and one count of making false statements to federal investigators. So he lied to the feds after having a gambling ring in your house, not a hotel room, not, let's get into this story because this is a mess. Because Gilbert, I mean, he earned over $200 million in the NBA. So I'm just sitting here thinking, if you want to gamble, go to Vegas. I mean, I heard it's empty out there. I just booked somebody's trip for a client of mine last week, and I hope that she has a great time with her and her family on a birthday trip. But I mean, there's plenty of places to gamble legally. Why would you want to run something out of your house? Well, you know what? That's him. I guess different strokes for different folks. I don't like a whole lot of folks in my house, but let's go ahead and get into this press release from the U.S. Attorney's Office. Former NBA star suspected Israeli crime figure arrested on federal indictment alleging high-stakes illegal poker games at his Encino mansion. So, Gilbert Arenas and five other defendants, including, I just read that snippet. Let me skip that a little bit. So, the people who were arrested with him in connection to the illegal gambling business charges are Yevgeny Gershman, who's 49, aka Giora of Woodland Hills, a suspected organized crime figure from Israel. Evgeny Turzbeki, I hope I'm not mispronouncing these people's names, who's 48, aka Eugene. Okay. Alan Austria, who's 42, aka not having all their aliases on here. Alicia West Hills. Yaron Cohen, who's 27. See, I was gonna say this sounded like a middle-aged thing until they threw in the 27-year-old. Which, if this is a RICO charge, I feel bad because that 27-year-old's life is a wrap. AKA YC, and Ivan Karshgren, 43 of Tarzana. So all these people are from Tarzana, with the exception of a few. Each of these defendants is charged with one count of conspiracy to operate an illegal gambling business and one count of operating an illegal gambling business. Okay, so one count was a conspiracy, the other was actually operation. Their initial appearances and arraignments are scheduled for this afternoon in the United States District Court in Los Angeles. Here's my question before I finish the article. How would they know that? Well, I'll ask the questions after I read the article. Okay. Let me finish. According to the indictment returned on July 15th and unsealed today, from September 2021 to July 2022, All of the defendants operated an illegal gambling business. Arenas rented out an casino mansion he owned for the purposes of hosting high stakes illegal poker games. Okay, so it was one of his properties, but he rented it out. Again, that doesn't make sense. If you're gonna have something that's high risk, don't do something that's in your name. That was gonna be my initial question. Like, how would the feds know that it was an illegal poker game? Because is just playing poker or betting on poker, is that illegal outside of just Vegas? Like, I know people who bet money on card games all the time. I didn't think that it was a federal crime, but again, I'm learning something new. You guys let me know in the comments. Um, at Arenas' direction, Arthur Katz, who's 51 of West Hollywood, staged the mansion to host the games and found the co-conspirators to host the games and collected rent from the co-conspirators on Arenas' behalf. So it was a rent party in addition to a high stakes poker game, which going back to, folks have rent parties all the time. So I'm learning as I'm going. So the co-defendants managed illegal pot limit Omaha poker games among the other illegal games at the casino mansion and collected a rake fee at the house and charged from each pot either a percentage or a fixed amount per hand and invited the players to compete. Gershman hired young women who, in exchange for tips, served drinks, provided massages, and offered companionship to the poker players. Not companionship, child, Lord. So this is probably where the sting came in, the escorts, allegedly. These are just the young women. I shouldn't say the escorts, but the young women hired to provide the refreshments. The young women were charged a tax, a percentage of their earnings from working the games. It's hard out here. Taxing the girls. Oh no. Okay. So okay. The chefs, valets, and armed security guards were also hired to staff these illegal poker games. Well, I guess if they're, like in the 6 to 7 figures, they would need armed guards. Um, Croc Croctron worked as a chip runner, where he tracked the players' wins and losses, distributed poker chips to players, and paid employees. Gershman, who's an Israeli citizen, was also charged with Valentina Kojari, who's 35, of Woodland Hills, with 3 additional counts: conspiracy to commit marriage fraud, another count of marriage fraud, and also making a false statement on the immigration document. So I wonder if she was running up the 90 Day Fiance bracket, allegedly. In early 2022, Gershman conspired with Valentina to enter into a sham marriage for the purposes of obtaining permanent legal status in the United States and lied to the immigration authorities to procure legal status for Gershman, who provided financial support to Valentina in exchange for her participation in the sham marriage. Again, I'm wondering. Listen, federal cases, they go for the long haul. So I'm sure they probably following these people for years. And they probably had all kind of wiretaps and stuff. But the fact that this happens, like card games, gambling, sham marriages, these things are, or maybe I don't know. I just know more about commonplace. They're more commonplace than people might think. Both Gershman and Valentina submitted false information on their U.S. immigration forms, okay, including Gershman's answer of no as to whether or not he had been detained by any law enforcement official, and as to whether he intended to engage in illegal gambling or other forms of commercialized vice. Okay, so they asked him specifically in regards to illegal gambling. That's interesting. Valentina was also arrested today, and she's scheduled to make her initial appearance and be arraigned this afternoon in the United States District Court in Los Angeles. An indictment contains allegations that a defendant has committed a crime. Each defendant is presumed to be innocent until and unless proven guilty in court. If convicted, the defendants would face a statutory maximum sentence of 5 years in the federal prison for each count. Wow. Homeland Security Investigations Northridge Office, the LAPD, Major Crimes Division, and the Transnational Organized Crime Section in the IRS Criminal Investigation are investigating this matter. Okay. So I'll link that for you guys if you want to read it. Um, but the sports world is going crazy right now because, my goodness, like if you were going to run an illegal racket, one would think that you would not do it outside of a home that you owned, right? Or take a trip to Vegas. But I'm just, thinking out loud. But yep, Gilbert Arenas is arrested. It's unfortunate, people are getting scooped up left and right. A lot of these older athletes are targeted. Again, like I made a video earlier about Shannon Sharp. It's like once they're in retirement, you know what I mean? Then I feel like people see them as easy money, whether it's an OnlyFans girl, whether it's an illegal gambling racket, um, allegedly. But him and five other people got arrested today. So, and the fact that he was doing it in an Encino mansion that he owned, that's what's blowing my mind. You know what I mean? Like, not a shell company, a commercial property, not a Vegas trip or some kind of underground. No, like this house is in his name, and then the girls that they hired to provide refreshments for the guests, they're taxing their tips. I'm like, what happened to the no tax on tips from the new administration? No, I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm just bringing levity to the situation because none of it's funny, to be honest. Like, there's so much, good that can be done in this world, especially now, right? There's so much going on. But unfortunately, like I said, these multimillionaires and these athletes, they retire and they say about idle hands. So unfortunately, if they're not put to good use, oftentimes they get into trouble. But anyway, you guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I will talk with you in the next one. Take care, Aces. Bye.